Now we're actually ready to create a new project, and the new project is going to play content. But before we can do that, we are going to save the new project in the same folder as we did before. Previously we called it immersive. Now this one, call it player. Call it save. Switch it on. Get a stage view. Again, the same tasks. Create the output. Here again, I'm going to select those two outputs. Tell it that it has to be split into 4 columns. I'm going to get a grid so I can see what I'm actually doing in here. And then resizing here, I am going to create a subnode. And the subnode allows me to keep my patches from being convoluted. So I go to 3D space and I'm going to get a beamer. This is my first object, and now I can get this calibrated beamer. So I have the position of the beamer, which is here. That's cool. And obviously the beamer, it takes also an output node, so it needs a viewport. Again, select out, column 1. There we go. And another piece missing, we need a screen object. And the screen object, I'm going to get the calibration screen object. And in here, I'm going to tell it that it is being drawn in this render group. And in here, we tell the beamer it should record everything that is inside this render group. And we can go to Tools, Stage, it up here, and can tell the stage it should show anything that is in this render group. And now we see here the screen, this projector number 1 is covering, and we made sure that only this projector is actually capable of seeing it. And now if we go into viewport, we can say show mesh. No, this is not the way we want to have it. Actually, we want to go in here and tell it to draw just lines. And now we see here on the output window how the lines are displayed. And now next step, I'm going to step in front of the screen again and have a look how it looks from there. Okay, now I'm in front of the screen again, and I'm going to send the output window down here to the projectors, and here we have it in all its beauty. And we see here the slight imperfections I was expecting. And in order to correct them, we're going to use the warp 2D object. So I'm going in here, go mapping, I'm going here into the viewport and tell the viewport that instead of, and I'm going to select the warp 1D here, this one here. So if I quickly switch back the output, look at the output, place that one up here, and press edit. What you can see now is I can actually manipulate and make corrections. However, for this purpose, the mesh is not has not the right resolution, so we have to create our own mesh. And for this we quickly step over to Blender. I'm going into different layer, press Shift A, create the mesh plane, tab into it and subdivide it. Let's say 4 times, it's probably enough. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do an unwrap. That's good. It's done. And I'm going to export this one here again as a wavefront, SPARCK. But this time we are going to save it into warp, and I'm going to call it custom warp. Okay, and now in here I can go and select the custom warp object, and as you can see now, the whole experience is far more smoother than it was before. What I also want to do is create a new lattice, and I'm going to tell it it's a 3 by 3 lattice. And now I'm going to step in front and send the output window to the screen, and now I can actually make those slight adjustments. So I can grab the lattice here, and make these corrections. As I see fit. But I also see now some of the vertex lines are not absolutely perfect. I actually can go here with tab into different modes and select vertices, but I have to be careful doing that. Too much is not possible. Well, there is not much possible. Let's see how the result is going to look like inside the player. What I obviously could do, I will try that. I could go for a different lattice. I could say I want to have a 5 by 5 lattice. Let's do that. Obviously now I have to set those parts again, and then I can actually go in here and make some more corrections. That looks actually better. Same thing over here. Make those corrections. Grab it over here to get a better feeling. To drag this one here again a little bit outside. Until it looks good. Now this is actually now quite acceptable. I'm happy with this one here. So I'm going to save it, call it lattice one. Okay. And this is obviously now a process that needs to be repeated for each screen. So I'll do that now, and I'll see you as soon as I'm done with that one. Now I'm done with setting up and calibrating all the other 3 beamers. Let's have a quick look at the output window. That's how it looks like. Obviously I could switch through the different meshes. Here these are the corrections I did in order to adjust it. And you can see here a swipe with the camera inside the cylinder. It's not perfect, but for the few minutes I spent making it happen, it's okay. What I could do is I could use a higher resolution mesh for the custom warp. That way some corrections that probably would work a bit better than they do at the moment. This is certainly something that needs some try and error until you get the right results. The tools at least are here to achieve it. Okay, now with this we can get the next chapter and have a look at what we actually can achieve with this. Now let me switch on all the screens we have so far. You can see now the line display is actually just from the outside viewable, not from the inside, so I switch that back again, go back and tell it to show polygons, and do this for all those screens. And what we want to achieve now is we want to create the illusion that these screens are actually a window into another world, into a virtual world. So even though I'm now here obviously inside of a virtual world, but you can imagine me standing here in the center of the cylinder and looking outside, and I want to see what is out there. So what we need for that is a camera that is actually able to capture 360 degrees up and down everywhere, record everything that is around us, and then somehow a feature that allows us to project this image we just recorded back onto the screen, depending on the viewpoint, depending on where I'm standing inside of the cylinder. So let's first have a look at the camera. And SPARCK has got its own camera that is helping us achieving that, and that's box camera. So I'm switching on box camera, tell it to be drawn on stage, so it's down here now. I'll move it up a little bit. I'll tell it so should be on the same level as my eyes would be. So here it is in the center. And the box cam, we can see, we can set a couple of things, but we can tell it into which directions it should record. So we say it records in all 6 directions, up, down, front, left, and so on. And now obviously the box cam itself is not doing much. it needs a recorder, a capture node. I need the box capture node. Tell it to be linked to the box camera. And with this node here we can actually record things. And the first thing we could do is we could say, well, the grid, we can just record the grid. Let's have a look. I'm scaling up the grid. I'm telling it to be for a different size. Let's make it 20. Here the grid size, I would say 1 meter steps is probably enough. Okay. And so I'm telling the box camera to record everything that is in this render group 1. And we need another object. Let's call it, where is it? It's actually an effect. And it is box VR. Here it is. Switch it on, tell it which one is the camera. And here we have to link the result of the capture into here. And that's done. And now we go back into here, go into each screen and tell it should display this box VR. So go into here, box VR, box VR, and box VR. Okay, and with this we still don't have any content on our screens. The reason is, as we can see, the box needs have to resize the far clip, and if we do that, we actually have the content now, and it's on the screen, and we see down here this is being projected by the projectors, and if I go in here I would actually see this scene. And just to make the test, if I would change the position of the cam, you see how everything is adjusted, and if I move towards one of the screens, this happens as well. So this is now cool. If one spectator would stand in the center of the immersive lab, but if he was moving towards the edge, towards one of the screens, the perspective wouldn't be correct anymore. So the only way to actually make sure that it's always correct is we somehow have to track the head of the person and adjust the position of this box camera. Okay, now let's have a quick look how it actually looks like in the immersive lab itself. Let's send it over to projectors. I position now the camera in the center of the cylinder, and when I look around I see how the illusion actually works.